Um, well, hello again. Great to see you, almost all of you again. Must have been a very difficult first day. We've already lost the first 4 rows. People, they're probably still working on their project ideas, I assume. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to talk about in the next 10, 15 minutes, but I have a good sense of what I want to get across. And what I'm trying to get across is that it's a really interesting and exciting time for people to change the world. It's much easier to change the world than it used to be even 20 years ago. There are lots of really big problems and opportunities and challenges that are exciting to work on. So there's no shortage of work to tackle. We know a lot more about the principles of innovation that are actually not that difficult to apply. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about MIT and the Media Lab and where I work and some of the things that maybe we've developed over the years that I think might be useful for you. I'm going to talk a little bit about the internet, because the internet plays a very big role in my life, and I think in your life as well. And I'm going to try to tell a few stories, I think. But I found this quote very inspiring, that small groups of thoughtful and committed people can change the world, and that maybe that is the only way to change the world. And so we have over 100 small groups of thoughtful and committed people here working together during the next week. And so I think it's a great opportunity for all of you to start changing the world. So who knows what this is? Any guesses? What is this? There's a hand up there. He's cheating. Not quite. Other ideas. Anyone else? If you've seen it before, it's okay. Any ideas? What does this look like? The universe. That's a very good suggestion. There's a hand. The synapses of the brain. Yes. Very close. So this is a picture. This is the best picture we have of the internet, which is actually almost exactly what the synapses of the brain look like. So that would look not very different. And it's also very similar to a network of the people that you would have been connected with at some point in your life using technology. And what's amazing to me actually is that you are the first generation that doesn't remember a time before the internet. I think that's correct, right? When you don't remember not having the internet. There was never no internet. So that is totally crazy to me, because I was in my early 20s. I was your age when I got my first account on a computer connected to the internet. And it blew my mind. It changed my career trajectory. I wanted to make films. I was very interested in films. And I logged onto this computer in the computer room. And it was all text-based. You had to type weird commands into a shell. And then you could connect to people all over the world, and they would talk back to you. And it was incredible because we'd never had that opportunity before. Like, the best you could do before is you could listen to the radio from the rest of the world, or watch TV, or you could travel, or you could phone someone, but you would already need to know who they are and have their number and have a relationship. You couldn't just pick up the phone and call anyone. And all of a sudden, you could speak to everyone in the world. And it was, I knew it was going to change. For me, that was the most interesting thing I'd ever come across, and I knew that was going to change everything. And it changes a lot for how we think about innovation today. And most fundamentally, it makes innovation much cheaper. So the old model of innovation was this. You had a business person. They had a tie and a suit, and they had a big suitcase full of money. And they came with an idea that they developed with other business people, and they made a big plan, and they analyzed the market. And then in the end, they found some poor guy who could program a computer, and they would hire them, and they would have to develop this solution, and then they would roll it out to the market. And well, That model actually didn't work so well anymore. It kind of switched around where people like you, who were students in a university, came up with an idea. And they said, I'm really interested in this idea of search. There's all this information out there, really difficult to organize. Why don't we write a little computer program that thinks about information in new ways? And they developed this in their spare time, in their dorm room, staying up late at night. And they didn't actually need any money. And eventually, they put it out there, people started using it, and then the money came to them. People actually came to them and said, hey, this is a really good idea, and for you to take this to the next level, you'll need some money. So here's some money. So then they took the money, and they built something that they had the big idea actually came at the end. I don't think the Google guys fully realized what they were doing when they built this algorithm. So the whole method of innovation can be switched around, where you and your project teams can come up with amazing ideas. You can go ahead and implement them. The tools are out there, and then get capital later, and then think about how they could affect society. So I did show this picture yesterday, I think, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about the place, because it's for a number of reasons. One is I think it's a very inspiring place, but when I talk about it, I don't want to come across as I'm bragging about how incredible this place is, because I think what's more interesting about the Media Lab is that a lot of the ideas that people are using at the Media Lab could be applied anywhere else, and certainly could be applied in a place like Leuphana. And MIT and the Media Lab in particular, have a little bit of an elite reputation. But I was really amazed last night when I found out how hard it is to get into Leuphana, because it's pretty much on par with the Media Lab, where we have many more people applying, and we accept a very, very small number of students, and it's the same here. So I think there are many similarities, there are many parallels between a place like MIT and Leuphana, and so you should all feel quite proud of yourselves that you made it here, except for the people in the first 4 rows who didn't come. So the Media Lab is a place for the people who don't fit in anywhere else. And it was founded by people who didn't fit in anywhere else. It was founded by a few professors at MIT who didn't fit into the university. They were computer scientists that were interested in artificial intelligence. They were architects that were interested in digital culture. They were mathematicians who were interested in how children could learn. And they didn't really fit in. And through an absolutely lucky miracle, those people were there at the same time, and one of them was an incredible organizer. And he said, we're going to start this place, and he raised the money to do it, and he started the Media Lab. And it grew. It still has that culture of kind of outcasts who go there because they can't go anywhere else. It's organized in a very different way from the university. There's more innovation and risk-taking that's possible. And it brings together people who don't fit in anywhere else. And we have 26 research groups that work on totally different topics, kind of like the project teams that you have. Actually, our research teams are mostly smaller than the project teams you are working in. So I know for a fact that with 15 people, you can do quite a lot of amazing stuff. And we have about 150 graduate students. We only accept masters and PhD. We actually only accept master students, but they can stay for a PhD. If their research progresses. And so I hope that in 4 years, maybe some of you will consider applying to the Media Lab and come and build some interesting things with us. But what I wanted to talk about, this is actually when I talked to Holm about this week, I asked him, how do you define success for the projects that people are working on? And he gave me kind of a very reasonable answer about unique selling points and market positions and feasibility and all those things that make a lot of sense, and business models. But it was great, because then I said, well, Holm, do you know how we define success at the Media Lab? We have three indicators for success. So the first one is uniqueness. If someone else is already doing it, then there's no point in doing it. I mean, I think in some cases there is a point in doing it much, much better if they're not doing it well. But generally, the most interesting ideas are the ones that other people are either shy to tackle, or they don't see the opportunity, and there's no one in that space. So focusing on things that are unique. And also, these are not necessarily generally applicable. I think they make sense to me, they make sense to the Media Lab, but not everyone needs to use those indicators. The third one I think everyone should use. So the first one is uniqueness. The second one is impact. Impact means when we develop something, we want to make sure that it changes people's lives, improves people's lives, that people get to use it, that they can have access to it, that it makes something that they already do better, or it gives them the opportunity to do something new that they couldn't do before. So impact. And impact can be measured with numbers of users, cost savings, and all the typical indicators. And then the last one is magic. So every project at the Media Lab is evaluated along those three indicators. Is it unique, and is it interesting? Does it have impact? And does it make you feel magical? And people always ask, well, how do you define magic? And you can't. We don't know how to do it. But when you see it, you know it. When you see something that just delights you or it blows your mind. And when I first saw the internet, it was magical. And I'm sure all of you have seen things in your lives where you went, wow, this is such an incredible idea, or this is so beautifully made. And so we always strive to have that element of magic in the projects we do. And I hope that that's something that maybe resonates with some of you, and that you could start including that in your planning. I'm not actually going to talk about this very much, but there is this whole philosophy of innovation at the Media Lab that comes out of the internet culture. And as I was thinking about this actually, and then I realized that you had never experienced the world without the internet, I realized that a lot of this probably doesn't make very much sense to you because you don't know it any other way. This is the innovation presentation for people who are 50 years old. But some of these are actually very interesting. I'll come back to some of the ideas. This is roughly the innovation culture and principle that we apply at the Media Lab. And there are a lot of interesting thoughts behind all of these. So let me pick a few. Practice over theory. Does anyone know what the Marshmallow Challenge is? Yes. Who knows the Marshmallow Challenge? Oh. It's more people than know 100-year-olds, I think. So for those who don't know the Marshmallow Challenge, it's an engineering project where small teams get given a set of resources. The resources are spaghetti, a string, some tape, and a marshmallow. And a marshmallow is a little soft sweet. And the goal is to work in a team. You get 18 minutes and build a structure that can balance the marshmallow on top. The spaghetti are uncooked, are raw, so they're stiff, but they're a little bit bendy and they break easily. The marshmallow is quite heavy, and so you got to build a structure just with those things in a team. So there's certain groups of people that are really good at the Marshmallow Challenge, and there are certain groups of people that are really bad. And this has been done now with tens of thousands of teams all over the world, and the research is robust. Any ideas who's really bad at this? Who? Engineers. Business people. Okay. Who do you think is really good at this? Engineers really bad, engineers really good. Who's really good at this? Kids, yes. So turns out that the people who are best at this are the students who recently graduated from kindergarten. They generally are the most successful teams in the Marshmallow Challenge. And the groups who are really bad at this are engineers sometimes. So engineers, it's good that showed up in both. But generally bad engineers and definitely bad managers and business people. They are the worst. and why is that? So because people take totally different approaches to solving the problem. Managers make a plan, right? Everyone gets put around the table, then you say, okay, we need someone to do this, someone to do this, someone to do this, and then we're going to write a plan, and we're going to decide exactly how we're going to build a structure, and I know the theory, and we do the calculations. And then it's like minute 16, and they're like, okay, let's build it. And then they all build it like they decided, and then the thing falls over, and they're out of time. Whereas kindergarten kids, they don't discuss anything. They just take the spaghetti, they start building. The thing falls over, they're like, wow, that fell over. Why did it fall over? It wasn't strong enough here. They add a little spaghetti here, they put a string there, they tinker. And they make the thing grow, and then, balance it, and boom, 18 minutes later, they have a beautiful structure with the marshmallow on top, and they're beating the managers every time. And so there's a good lesson in there, I think, about how you can develop ideas into prototypes and then products. And that is, don't plan everything. Imagine some solutions, then prototype them, put them in place, share them with other people, get other people to use them, reflect on what's working and what's not working, change it. Don't be afraid to throw it away. Don't be afraid to make big changes. And the same is actually true for internet companies. Almost all of the huge successful internet companies, Twitter, all of the big names, started as something totally different from what they are now. This is just one example, YouTube. So in 2005, YouTube was a dating site where you could upload a video in order to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And so you can still, you probably can't read this, but it says here, I'm and then you select male or female, seeking, male, female, everyone, between the ages 18 and 45. This is not mine, by the way. And you could upload a video, and then you could watch other people's videos, and that was the business idea, and it totally failed. No one wanted to use it. And but in the process, they built this really clever way of uploading video and sharing it and compressing it. And they started uploading just random videos, and people liked it so much that it took off, and then it became YouTube, and now it's, I think the #1 streaming website on the internet. So just as a reminder that when you're planning your ideas, don't be afraid to make changes. Sometimes it's good to go ahead and try it and prototype it, and then get it wrong and learn from it, and then make some changes. I think that's okay. This is my favorite one of all the 9 principles: disobedience over compliance, and it means. Don't be afraid to break the rules. So Holm was just speaking about the importance of regulation, and I totally agree with that. But actually, as Holm will probably also agree with, sometimes it's very important to break the regulations or show why there shouldn't be regulations in the first place. And so this is more of an example from MIT. This is the most famous building at MIT. It's called the Dome. There's a library in the top. This is where the graduation happens. So people wear the outfits and they come here with their families. And there's a long history at MIT of putting things on top of the dome. And you can see it's quite high. So one morning, the MIT community woke up and someone had put a fire truck on the dome. And actually the fire truck was a response to another group that had put a police car on the dome. And they thought, well, what's more challenging than the police car? We'll put a fire truck up there. And I encourage you, hacks.mit.edu has the whole history of hacks. I actually have one more picture where they turned one of the tallest building on the campus into a Tetris game. And everyone could go and you could play Tetris with the lights coming down the building. But what's amazing about this story is we interviewed a lot of students, faculty, administrators about what makes their time at MIT special. And we've heard incredible stories, and just one of the stories comes from the person who managed this process, because, so I have to be careful, I shouldn't have said she, so it's obviously anonymous because they broke the law when they put the fire truck up there. But we talked to her. She's a famous scientist now. She went on to a different university, got a PhD in biology, and went on to become a famous scientist. And she said, without a doubt, the thing in her entire career that she's most proud of and that she learned most from was putting the fire truck on top of the dome. And so I think this feeling of kind of pushing against the boundaries and then working very hard to do something that maybe other people said you can't do or you're not allowed to do, and then accomplishing it is such an important part of the work that you're doing that I hope you'll feel. Someone else actually told me at some point in my career, he said, beg for forgiveness rather than ask for permission. And I think that's brilliant. So go do it, don't ask for permission. But if it goes wrong and you make a mistake and you cause a mess, then you really sincerely have to apologize for it. And so I've tried to live by that principle. And one last one, and this is kind of a disappointing one for me, but I think it's very important. Patrick Winston, he gives a talk every year called How to Speak at MIT. He's a professor. And it's super popular. It's always full with students and other faculty, actually, who want to hear him. And he talks about how to give a talk, and he has all these points. I disagree with almost everything he says, but at the beginning of his talk, he says something extremely insightful to make the point that it's important to learn how to speak. And he says that in your career, the impact of your ideas, how much impact you will have with your work, depends on your ability to articulate the ideas, talk about your ideas, the ability to write down what your ideas are, and the quality of your ideas in this order. And that really made me pause and think, and I've kind of tested this in meetings now, and I've paid attention to whose ideas move forward and whose ideas get shut down, and I've realized that he's right. It's often the person that is most able to articulate an idea or tell a story about an idea whose ideas get picked. And I know you guys are going through this process, I think tomorrow, where you're all pitching your ideas to each other and then you're pitching them to other people. And I think there are two lessons in this. One is it's really important to start thinking about how you articulate your ideas. And it's something that gets better through practice. There's no magic in this. No magic in this. It's all practice, and there are lots of resources online, but it's worth investing time in how you talk about your ideas. But the other one is, when you're in your groups tomorrow, try to listen to the quality of the idea rather than who's the most convincing speaker. Because I think we want the best ideas, not the ones that get told the best way. And so I want to, hopefully, some of these things have given you a little bit of hope and confidence for the next week that you can achieve great things. I truly believe that you can achieve great things. And so, good luck with the prototyping, and I'll see you guys again.
Super. Das ist jetzt ganz schnell zu passen. Ja, bist du hier? Super. Das sehe ich nachher noch, ne? So, thank you very much. So Philipp gave a lot of insights on things we have planned into this Startwoche very consciously. So the fact that tomorrow and especially Thursday is actually devoted to getting your thoughts straight and communicating them rather than spending a week developing an idea and then maybe not getting is exactly based on that understanding, and it's meant to help you during the course of your university study as well as if you want to be impactful anywhere in the world. So you will get a strange, very small assignment now, which is very different from all the other assignments you have so far gotten, and you will not work on it in your team. So what happens is, do you have this slide, please? So what happens is, we are asking each and every one of you to develop a short idea. So we are, in the end, asking each and everybody of you for 12 or 16 words, not for a big page, not for a big template, not for, can we get that slide? I'm stretching here. So what we are asking you is to answer for yourself 2 different things. Is what is a particular need in the market, and what would be your idea to address it? So, somebody needs something, and what would I do? How would my something look like? So, there's a certain group of people, there's a certain segment, how scientists would call it, or there's just many people you happen to know who have a certain need. And what is a product or a service you could envision that will absolutely help meet that need, that would be cool to have based on that need? So we are not asking you for a balanced proposition. We are not asking you for a grand idea or for a realistic idea. We are not asking you to come up with something you have just seen elsewhere. We are asking you to think in this spectrum of an aging society. What is a group, or what are many people needing? So this is A, demographic change causes needs. What demands could arise from there? And secondly, how does your solution for that need look like? And this is typically the nucleus of an idea, of a business idea. This is how everything starts. Somebody needs something, and there is a really cool thing to address it. There's no science about it, there's no numbers about it. There is probably some magic in it when you want to hear it. So, each and everybody, please, can you give me the can you show us the template? The next slide, please. Oh, the slide before that.
I think we don't have it.
Okay, so on the platform, there is a very simple template which says need and solution, 2 fields. And what you please do is everybody individually, for yourself, come up with something. You do not have to agree in the team. You can be totally different opinion in the team on what that is. One person in your team collects all of this and uploads everything from everybody before 8 p.m. Give me 1 second to finish. What will happen with this tomorrow is nobody here has to present alone his or her idea. So don't worry, we are not calling upon people to present that, but we will jointly in the teams take that process further. So, since anybody's leaving anyway, I hope that's clear. Your tutors have everything, your mentors have everything. Wishing you a great evening.